moving on to our panel's Rants and Raves of the week. This week we are starting with you. Dan, what do you have?
My rant is for MSNBC, which in May tumbled to 4th place in the ratings among the cable news networks. Falling behind HLN is quite an accomplishment. Now, the reasons that are being given is May was a big news month. Tornadoes and crime.
Jody Arias.
Jody Arias, and that tends to favor CNN. It was also a bad month for President Obama, and MSNBC is a liberal network. Presumably when the president has hard times, Democrats flee to watch sports or something. I don't know. But I think that MSNBC needs to face up to the fact that its lineup is not what it used to be. And Rachel Maddow is excellent, but the rest of it looks like the revival of the not yet ready for primetime players. And it's beginning to look like, as much of a pain in the neck as Keith Olbermann may have been, I don't think it's been the same since he left. And maybe, I don't know what Keith is doing these days, but maybe it's time to say, Keith, all is forgiven.
I don't know that they're ready to work with Keith again, but, you know, maybe they are.
Next up, we have Callie. What's your rant or rave?
I have a rave for folks, we news consumers, organizing when there needs to be an organization against something like a Facebook, which seems impossible maybe to get their attention. But a coalition of women's groups and others, led by Women Action and the Media, really got together with, untold numbers of hundreds of thousands of tweets and emails to Facebook in a very concentrated period of time saying, listen, the kind of comments that are gender related are inciting violence, and now we've crossed over from free speech into hate speech, and you have to address it. You have to do a better job of addressing it.
Are these comments about rape?
Right. A lot of them had to do with rape, but you have to know that women in general, out in the blogosphere, the kind of negative comments that they get in terms of, instead of I don't like your opinion, you're an idiot, it immediately turns to the kind of language that is really does incite violence. And so for people who say, well, this is a free speech issue, free speech is determined if when you cross over into hate speech is whether or not you're inciting violence, and a lot of this was. So at a time when we're really looking at these issues, hopefully, with a little bit more in depth, looking at what's going on in the Army and the military and other places, Facebook said, you know what, you're right. And so we're going to do a better job of monitoring. We're going to do a better job of hiring people that can ascertain what exactly is right on the line, and we'll make it happen. I'm hoping they do that.
Impressive outcome.
Yeah.
Tom, what do you have?
Well, I don't want to call it a rant, but I want to chide CBS investigative reporter Cheryl Atkinson, who has had I think a remarkable series of good stories in the past, but lately, particularly starting with Fast and Furious, and then she has been banging on Benghazi over and over again, most of it off the air. She has become the darling of the right wing, and she has said, it's not true, I'm straight down the middle and so forth, but yet she finds herself way too often going on right-wing radio shows and TV shows and playing into that audience. And most recently she said that her computer, both at home and in the office, has been intruded upon in the context of an anti-Obama, and the FBI is hounding Fox News and AP, so that she has positioned herself as someone who may also be a victim of government intrusion. It's not good for her credibility. It's not smart. I hope she pulls back from that.
Maybe too late, though.
Maybe too late.
Kara, what do you have?
A rant for Fox News, which recently, actually Fox Business Network, Lou Dobbs talked about the new report out of Pew this week that shows that 40% of American households have women as breadwinners. And he and a panel of others, Juan Williams, Eric Erickson, said that this was a sign of the breakdown of the family, that if you look, Eric Erickson said if you look out in nature, clearly men are dominant. This is clearly a problem when women are the breadwinners. I don't even know what to say except my head exploded when I saw this. And it's amazing to me that it wasn't retracted and that they were allowed to have this conversation on air and that everybody agreed with it. Juan Williams also thought that there was an indication.
As it turns out, we don't have time for the rant that I had wanted to give, so I'll give a rave following up to you from Megyn Kelly of Fox News, who actually dressed down Eric Erickson, and I forget the other individual.
I thought Greta Van Susteren did it.
Greta Van Susteren did too, but I think Megyn Kelly's was the most forceful, and as the parent of two daughters, I think it was a righteous this takedown.
I just want to tell Kara that you and I are the nightmare for these people. We're working.
I know.
Breaking down the family.
I know.
You guys are taking us to hell in a handbasket. That is going to do it for Beat the Press. Tell us what you think of the Boston Herald's welfare coverage. Weigh in at beatthepress.org. Monday on Greater Boston, critical hearings before the start of the Whitey Bulger criminal trial. I'll be at the Moakley Courthouse and have a full report. And later in the week, the mecca of vintage clothing in Lynn that even Hollywood costume designers can't resist. We'll take you inside. That's all next week on Greater Boston. For all of us, I'm Adam Riley. Thank you for watching.